Have you ever wondered why the ocean moves? Not the surface waves, but the deep pull beneath it. The tides rise and fall without force, drawn quietly by the moon. No effort, no noise, just gravity and surrender. That's magnetism. Not the performance of power, but the silent rhythm of being. That's the truth of magnetism. Not the surface trick of charm or confidence people speak of, but the silent gravity that comes from inner fullness. True magnetism isn't a performance. It's the residue of peace. We live in a world obsessed with motion, with doing, improving, becoming. But the more you chase energy, the more it slips through your grasp. Because what you chase, you declare you do not have. And the universe always mirrors what you are. When a man is trying to be magnetic, he's already repelling. You can feel it. That edge of need, that quiet strain beneath the smile. But the one who no longer seeks to prove, who stands rooted in quiet certainty. He radiates without speaking. He doesn't convince. He simply is. Everything in nature is drawn to stability. Rivers carve their path toward the still ocean. Fire reaches for air. Matter gathers around mass. This is not effort. It is law. You, too, are a field. Every thought, emotion, and posture sends signals to reality, and what you feel within becomes the shape of your world. You attract not what you want, but what you are stable in being. Most people live like scattered magnets, their energy divided between fear, desire, and distraction. One moment they crave attention. The next, they retreat in doubt. Their field never stabilizes long enough for the world to respond, so their lives feel like static, random, unpredictable, out of sync. But magnetism begins the moment you stop leaking energy into the external world. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth through reaction and begin to cultivate it through stillness. To be magnetic, you must stop chasing the current and become the source of it. It begins with the most ancient discipline, presence. The ability to hold your own gaze inwardly without fleeing from yourself. Stillness is uncomfortable at first because the noise you've been avoiding rises to the surface. You meet your doubts, your fears, your craving for validation. But as you stay, the storm subsides, and beneath it, there is silence, a power that doesn't need to speak its name. In that silence, your nervous system resets, your breath deepens, your energy consolidates. You no longer oscillate between, I hope they like me, and I don't care anymore. You simply exist, self-contained, complete. And when you reach that state, something invisible happens. People begin to feel you. They won't know why, but they'll sense calm in your presence. A quiet confidence that can't be faked or manufactured. Your very being says, I am home within myself. That is magnetism. It's not about dominance or charm or strategy. It's the frequency of self-trust made visible. Every time you abandon yourself for approval, you lose charge. Every time you need to be seen to feel real, you disconnect from your power. But every moment you choose to stay centered, to speak less, breathe deeper, to act from fullness instead of lack, your field strengthens. Your presence becomes its own message. Most people think magnetism is about gaining, attracting opportunities, lovers, wealth. But the truth is inverted. Magnetism is about subtraction, removing everything that dilutes your signal. When the noise is gone, what remains is irresistible. There's a reason the ancient mystics spoke so much about silence, solitude, and simplicity. They weren't withdrawing from life. They were charging their field. They understood that creation doesn't come from effort, but from coherence. And coherence is born when you stop scattering your attention outward and let your energy gather inward like light returning to its source. You are magnetic when your inner and outer worlds match. When your thoughts, emotions and actions align in one direction. That's when you become undeniable. That's when people sense something they can't explain. An unseen force that feels like gravity, but softer, wiser, deeper. You see, the magnetic man doesn't move to prove. He moves because it is natural. His words don't persuade, they land. His gaze doesn't reach, it receives. He doesn't fight for attention because attention is already drawn to wherever his energy rests. And that's the secret. Your energy is home, not a weapon. It's not for chasing outcomes, but for nurturing the soil of your own being. The moment you start living from nourishment instead of hunger, you flip the entire law of attraction. The hungry attract resistance. The nourished attract flow. The frantic attract chaos. The grounded attract peace. When your sense of safety no longer depends on how others respond, you become untouchable. Because what you are no longer trying to defend is finally free to expand. That's the paradox of magnetism. You attract most when you no longer need to. Because needing closes your field, but peace opens it infinitely. So stop trying to be magnetic. Stop trying to be seen. Stop performing the self you hope the world will accept. Instead, return to being, to stillness, to the quiet pulse beneath thought, to the breath that has never abandoned you. When you start feeding your soul rather than the image of yourself, life rearranges. People sense it. Opportunities sense it. Even chaos bends around it. Because nothing is stronger than a being who no longer seeks completion. He has become the field itself. And the world, magnetized by that stillness, can only orbit his light.